Hi, my name is Joseph Parker, WBO champion of the world, and you're watching Sporting Icons.
David Higgins, who is never short of a word or two, who is the promoter for WBO World Heavyweight Champion from New Zealand, Joseph Parker, who is set to defend his title against already unified champion Anthony Joshua, where Joshua will defend his IBF, Super WBA, and maybe the IBO. We're still waiting for news on that one. And that'll be on March 31st, Principality Stadium, Cardiff, Wales, in front of around 80,000 people, plus however millions on the pay-per-view. A massive event. Anyway, David Higgins has spoken about Joseph Parker and the fact that for Joseph Parker, it's not about fame, it's not about money, it's about achieving. And of course, the whole spectacle of 80,000 that's awaiting him. And with all the attention that Joseph Parker's going to be getting from now until then, is not going to faze him. And this is what David Higgins had to say. I don't think fame is what's driving Joseph at all. He has a huge extended family to look after, but I think achievement and satisfaction are a big part of it. It's not about fame or money, but they are byproducts of doing your best and succeeding. But really, it's a lofty goal. Shoot for the stars and try to unify the division. No one has really done that since Lennox Lewis. And so I think that will be very motivating for Joseph Parker. Now Joe, he won't be fazed at all by the spectacle. To him, it will just be another boxing ring. Whether it's in the North Pole or Timbuktu or the Millennium Stadium, the preparation will be the same, the mindset will be the same. One thing we know about Joseph is that side of it won't faze him. He's got a job to do, he knows what it is, he'll take it very seriously. There might be some people that might be overawed, but Joseph Parker is not one of them. David Higgins' statement. So, I mean, I can probably agree with a lot of what he says here, of what we know about him. I mean, if you forget some of the trash talking about accusing Anthony Joshua of steroids and this kind of thing, and a lot of it was instigated by David Higgins, and you know, he's pretty much in Joseph Parker's ear telling him, you know, say this, say that, blah blah blah. He didn't tell him about the steroid thing, but still. So forget all that. Joseph Parker is a very, very humble, down to earth, nice guy. That's pretty much what he is. And will he be fazed by the whole event? Who knows? I mean, it's very easy to say no, but of course, until you walk out there in front of a huge event and you're the headliner and the focus of attention, who knows how some people react to it. Anthony Joshua has adapted to it very, very well, but of course he's been built gradually by that. I mean, one of his early fights, I think it was his second or third pro fight, was on the George Groves Carl Froch rematch at Wembley Stadium in front of 80,000. So Anthony Joshua already had that baptism of fire. Joseph Parker's last event didn't do very well against Hughie Fury. The Manchester Arena sold about half, I believe it was, and it was shown on YouTube. So going from that to the Principality Stadium in front of 80,000 with pay-per-view buys that could well be a new record for a British pay-per-view in boxing, potentially, who knows. But this is a massive, massive event. So only on the day will we find out, will he freeze? I mean, of course he will go for it. He's not going to go in there and lay down. I really don't believe that. Now, when it comes to him shooting for the stars to become undisputed champion, now Joseph Parker said this right before the Hughie Fury fight, that he wants to get this fight out of the way and then take on Joshua and Deontay Wilder. He wants to find out who is the best in the world. He wants to be the undisputed champion. And if he's not, then he's not. It's a case of, at least we'll get to find out who is the undisputed and the best heavyweight right now. So this is not something new that Anthony Joshua has just popped into his mind. It's been there for a while, and it's unfortunate that Joseph Parker and Deontay Wilder didn't fight first, and then the winner takes on Joshua for undisputed. It does seem that Joshua is expected to go around the houses and collect all the belts one at a time, but you know what, that is what it is. As far as fame and money, no, I mean, because of what I've seen of him, he is very humble, and when you put a camera on him, he does look a little bit uneasy, if you like, at times. I mean, at other times he looks very relaxed. But I think He will probably could do without the fame, but like David Higgins said, it is a byproduct of what you have to do in order to succeed. To become undisputed champion, or even just champion in general, you do have to open your mouth and talk in front of a camera, and you do have to sell yourself. He's not very good at selling himself, hence the reason why the Hughie Fury fight as well didn't really take off, because he's not one for trash talking himself, and Hughie Fury, although he tried, didn't come across too good. And I felt bad for Joseph Parker in a lot of that one, because I thought that he got very disrespected by Team Fury, but ultimately it all worked out okay, and they ended up being friends, so that was all fine. So fame is not something that Joseph Parker is interested in. I think that's pretty obvious to everybody. Money, of course he's interested in that. Don't care what he says or anybody says. Money is the main motivation for any professional boxer. That's one of the reasons why they get in there. All boxers start off with wanting a legacy, but of course when you start getting decent paydays, it then becomes about the payday. And it's for all of them. I think all boxers are guilty of this. You know, they will price themselves at a set amount, and then that'll be it. Hence the reason why they went for 32.5%. That's pretty much what they settled on for this fight, which is massive money. It's got to be between 10 and 15 million pounds that he's going to be getting for this fight, potentially anyway. Either way, it's a massive fight, and I do agree, I don't think fame is something that bothers him. I think the motivation of becoming the best is what motivates him. If he falls short, he falls short. I mean, he's 25 or 26 years old, so there's still time. So taking a loss, no biggie really. You know, he's supposed to lose against Anthony Joshua. If you look on paper and the bookies and all this kind of thing, he's supposed to lose. But of course, that doesn't mean he's gonna. And I know a lot of people don't rate him. I personally do rate him. I've seen him for a couple of years now, and I do rate him. His last couple of performances against Hughie Fury, and of course against Cojanu, not that good. I mean, Hughie Fury was on the back foot the whole time, and as most fighters find out, when your opponent is there to survive and run away, there's not much you can really do about it, and it sets for a very ugly fight, no matter how good you are. Against Cojanu was Joseph Parker's sparring partner. Cojanu was adopting the Hughie Fury style. So that's all Joseph Parker knew about Cojanu, is that Cojanu was adapting to Hughie Fury in the way that he fights. So of course, when it comes down to the fight, Cojanu knows exactly what Joseph Parker's going to bring. Joseph Parker doesn't know what Cojanu's going to bring. But either way, that is a fight that he should have won by stoppage. That's just my opinion, of course. And of course, against Carlos Takam, Andy Ruiz, he looked a little bit out of sorts. Some people had him losing both of those fights. Some people had him losing to Hughie Fury. But facts are, he got the win. And for a young man who's just stepping up to the world level, he's done very, very well for himself. And securing a fight like this, win, lose or draw, he has put his name in the history books. So it's a big, big props for Joseph Parker. And I like him. I really do. And I know a lot of people have underrated him. But like I said, if you could try and edge out of your mind the way that he was fighting these guys, bearing in mind all the way up to this, me and a lot of people were criticising him, saying that the way that he fights, he's not going to have a very long career. He takes too many big shots. Yes, he does have a granite chin. It does appear so. But that doesn't mean he can't be knocked out. That doesn't mean it's not having an effect on his long-term health at all. So since then, he has been sharpening up his defensive skills. And as a consequence, he has lost a lot of that aggression, which made him, or made a lot of people look at him thinking, damn, this guy is explosive. So he has lost a lot of that explosiveness, but that doesn't mean he's not going to get it back and throw caution to the wind and say, you know what, screw defense against Joshua. I'm going balls to the wall and going for it. So that's pretty much what I'm expecting him to do. I don't expect him to go in there, lie down, do a Charles Martin at all. For me, for Anthony Joshua to beat Joseph Parker, he's going to have to either outbox him or put him on his back and nail him to the canvas. Joseph Parker's never been dropped as a pro, as an amateur, in sparring. We don't know all this for a fact. As a pro, we know this for a fact, but as amateur and sparring, we don't know this for a fact. But this is what they are putting out there, and there's no reason to disbelieve it. But that doesn't mean he's not going to be dropped against Joshua, and I do expect him to be dropped against Joshua. But will he be stopped? I'm not confident of that. As of right now, I mean, things may change, but right now I believe that Anthony Joshua will end up beating Joseph Parker on points. I can't see Joseph Parker outboxing, but you never know. You really never know. We don't know what kind of Joseph Parker is going to turn up. If the Joseph Parker that fought Hughie Fury or Carlos Takam or Andy Ruiz turns up, you would fully expect Anthony Joshua to win. But Parker's going to be training for Joshua specifically, so I'm expecting something different, something a bit more aggressive. We don't often see Joseph Parker on the back foot too much either, but I do expect him to be wise with this one, and he will be on the back foot quite a few times, I think, to try and avoid that big punch. Yeah, he's got a granite chin, but it doesn't mean he's quite willing to test it out. But he will throw caution to the wind at some point in this fight. Who knows, maybe from the opening bell, hit Joshua with an element of surprise. So this is a very interesting fight. I really do like it. I know some people don't, but me, I do. So anyway, drop your thoughts below as to what you think about David Higgins' statement. Click that thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you on the next video.